Martin from the Philippines. We're here in Real Talk Lifeline. So, in this quick workshop today, this morning, what we're going to do is this is called How to Turn Your Stress into Healing. So, those who are, you're going through stress, you want a stress management workshop. Well, here's one for you. Game. So let's start this off. How to turn your stress into healing. The first question, people watching the live or the replay, feel free to comment down below and interact. I want you to type to share what is stress for you? What is stress? Is that an acronym? Is this just a real world, a word that you feel every day? Is it one of the biggest challenges of your life right now? What is stress? So, stress can come while you guys are typing over there, thinking, maybe just feeling what comes first to you, people watching the live or the replay. Comment down below. This can come or show up in an area of life. It could be, I'll give you some hints. So, 4 areas in your life, it could be in your health, your physical, your body, your health. It could be in your relationships. It could also be in your career, that's also related to money, or it could be in your spiritual life. So, what is that? Your purpose. For some of you, it's religion, it's God, it's whoever you believe in. For some, it's their spirituality. So, where do you experience stress in your life right now? Those are some hints that maybe could give you an idea. So, what is stress? Personally, I'll just share from my experience or from people that I've seen gone through classes, gone through training, gone through seminars. Stress can be suffering. It can also mean trauma. It can mean resentment, any area of your life. It can mean ego. So ego could mean maybe thinking too much about ourself, or it could be blind spots, arrogance. It could also mean ourself, self, meaning maybe we don't think enough of ourself and we're burning out because of that. Lastly, it can also mean soreness. So let's say I just did a workout this morning. You could feel that, um, whether it's delayed onset or immediate, you could feel soreness in your muscles and your body. So stress can come in many forms. Now, the name of this workshop is called How to Turn Your Stress into Healing. So now that we have stress, we know what it is in our life. Again, comment down below if what that stress is for you right now, and we can work on it. So I want this to be interactive. So, how do we turn that stress into healing? I'll give you 4 quick steps on how to do that. And also, to make it more fun or practical, I will also directly connect this with an experience that you can also go through should you choose to. And it's something that I've learned and personally gone through in my life as well. So, this experience is an ice bath or a cold immersion. So, whatever stress you're going through right now, let's zoom out macro. What are 4 quick steps that you can do to turn your stress into healing? So, the first one, to make it very easy to remember, they all start with the same letter R. So, the first step is to recognize. So, what does recognize mean? So, I'll quickly go through this and then do a direct application. Recognize could simply mean awareness, and awareness is the very first and most important step. What is the stress that I'm going through? A lot of people have no idea or awareness of what they're going through. So I'll make a personal sharing. So back in 2014, I had no idea what mental emotional health was. I had no idea what anxiety was, like an anxiety attack. So until you actually go to a doctor and explains it to you, I didn't know what depression was until you actually start to see other people going through it as well. And some people even go through it on a worse, or sorry, on like a more intense or severe degree or level than you. So it brings awareness. So that's the first step, recognize. And that's what we're doing here right now. Step two, release. So this is the fun part. And as a guy growing up, I was never really encouraged to do this. So maybe for the women here, comment down below if it's true for you. Releasing is releasing that stress, releasing that emotion, right? To share it. Now, the boys don't cry who get it. The guys who you're not allowed to express your sadness, your weakness, all that fucking bullshit. Release is actually a very important and healing part of the stress, turning it into healing. And I'll give a practical example of that as well. So the third one, quickly going through this, is reframe. This is my favorite part. I call this alchemy. It's kind of like the real life magic that you experience. Very simply, it's turning a negative into a positive. And then the last step, the fourth step, is called rebuild. So rebuild is this is not a one-time magic trick. Once you do it, everything's going to be okay for the rest of your life. Rebuild is, so one of my teachers, Mark, he says consistency over intensity. Now the trick is sometimes every time you go through something in life, it is intense, but the emphasis is consistency. So that's the rebuild. It's a continuous, sustainable process. So, what are benefits? Let's say I'm game. Let's do the ice bath. This is something that I would invite you to in our next workshops. Comment ice bath down below if you're interested in that, people watching the live or the replay. So, when we go through this, what are some of the benefits you could also get as well? For the first step, when we recognize and we have awareness, one thing we teach is before we even go into a stressful situation, that's the topic, right? It's about stress management. Before we even go into that stressful situation, like the ice bath, the cold immersion, we already have the awareness. It's gonna be fucking cold. When we step inside and do it, initial reactions can be you can go into shock, you can start to panic, your breathing can start to go so you could have very shallow and short breaths, which can actually induce anxiety even further, right? So we already have this awareness. Part of the awareness too is we will be sharing with you tools or techniques like breath work, the priming, as we go through it as well. So the awareness will equip us to handle the stress better. Next step on release, the second step after recognizing. So, release, step two. One thing we do is to release responsibly. So, how do we do this? We do it in a healthy way. So, we encourage everyone to let the stress out. And when we let the stress out, when you step in that ice bath, it could be vocal, right? You could hear like, ah. Some people could be emotional. You could see like the tears coming out of their eyes. You could see it in their face. You could see emotions flowing from the heart. So that's also another way of expressing it. Here in this space, there is no judgment. You are safe. You're also guided with the teachers, the trainers, the facilitators there. So you're gonna be safe and okay. In that environment, it is okay. Now, quick example before moving forward. What's an example of releasing irresponsibly, right? Let's say someone goes in the office and they just lash out, right? They break the microwave, they throw a plate. Maybe in the house, somebody like loses it, right? Emotionally, they shout, you know, they do violence like that. Those are destructive ways of expressing, and it might even cause damage or trauma to other people around. So, last example is who here, maybe you're a guy, the way you handle anger is you would punch the wall until you see blood on your knuckles, right, or on the wall. Or maybe for some of you, the girls, you cut your wrists, right, or you're someplace in your body that's not seen, right? So why do this? These certain practices, if they tend to be destructive, not constructive, and let's say they're not sustainable, could even end up killing ourselves, right? So doing the ice bath, the cold immersion, is a healthier way to express it. Also, it's more sustainable. Of course, we're doing this in a controlled environment with again people who have gone through it. Once you reach the point you can handle it by yourself, feel free to do it on your own. Next step, reframe. How do we turn our stress into healing? Through the cold immersion, the ice bath. The reframe here is alchemy again, turning a negative into a positive. Back in the day, the ancient days, alchemy was turning lead into gold. Now, you can actually do this by turning your fear into empowerment. So that's what you experience when you actually do the ice bath properly. So, one thing I also learned and has helped me is when I did my first ice bath, I really chose a teacher who I trusted, Mark, who I still work with. And if you join us, you're going to meet him. So, one thing I personally believed in or practiced that helped me is to give my mind proof, not promises. So, what does that mean? It's a calculated risk. If ever I try to do it on my own, an ice bath, maybe I get cold shock, I panic, I can actually drown in the water. And I'm not the only one who thinks this way. I was just speaking to someone recently and he shared the same sentiment, right? So when I did it in a very calculated way. It was still extremely difficult, but the proof was I knew he did it. If he can do it, then I can do it. And worst case scenario, if anything really bad happens, I know he's still there. I know someone's going to be there. So that's one way to reframe it, also in a responsible way. So we can turn a negative, we can turn that pain, we can actually turn it into a positive, into power. So lastly, rebuild. What are the benefits you're going to get after you do an ice bath, like a practical application of this? Initially, after you do the ice bath, you get happy hormones released. So it could be noradrenaline, norepinephrine. These are the happy hormones that are produced in the body. It can be the dopamine, endorphins. Like you kind of get that when you're on the runner's high. You also get that in the ice bath, serotonin, all these happy hormones going through our body, all natural. Also, we also get recovery or anti-inflammation. A lot of people who do the ice baths or these cold immersions are athletes, basketball players. You know, in the US, the NFL, the National Football League, they go into water filled with ice like that. So it helps relieve the stress from the muscles, the inflammation in their body. Now, if you want to relieve inflammation all the way up to your head, some people they dip their head in there, momentarily, right? Next, mental, emotional, physical, and I believe even a spiritual level resilience. Why? When you go through an extremely intense experience, we build up that resilience. Another word for it can be grit, right? We do something extremely hard. The benefit I get that I learn from other mentors too is it builds our self esteem. So if you can't do a skydive, if you can't do a fire walk, you walk on hot coals, right? Can't break an arrow using your throat. Well, you could do an ice bath, right? A cold immersion. Comment ice bath down below if you want to experience this workshop with us. Next, the next benefit you could also get in the rebuild process is moving forward, any other stress we encounter, we can choose to respond instead of reacting. So you see the difference there. Respond is we have a choice. Reacting is our natural knee-jerk instinctive reaction, which is usually basic instinct again. It's either fight or flight or freeze. Respond is I can choose the way that I'm going to handle the situation and I'll choose the best way. Next, this is also kind of related. The benefit you get is you also get a glimpse of your higher self versus our lower self, known as the ego. Normally, our ego, when we step in that ice bath, These are the thoughts, the voices that say, oh, I don't want this, it's too cold, I want to get out, I want to quit. If I stay here any longer, it hurts, I'm gonna die. Look at that. These are all the thoughts, real thoughts that are gonna go through our head when we step in that ice bath. That's the ego, survival, the lower self, limited. The higher self is that side of us that can go beyond, that can do the impossible, that can do things that we never even thought we could, right? It's living on that higher level. And the higher self is so much more than that. It might give you insight into other areas of your life as well. So it's amazing. Some of you, I'm excited to hear your sharings too. Lastly, the benefit you get from this in this rebuilding process, doing this stress management workshop, the ice bath, cold immersion in particular, is just good for your health. It increases your metabolism, it jacks it up, so you get to melt and burn that fat. Tip here, after you do the ice bath, you tend to get hungry. Please eat something healthy like salad, stop, some whole food. Do not eat cake or like some dirty carbs or junk food after that, because it will just counter it, the health benefit, and you won't lose the fat, right? You won't burn it, you won't get the abs that you wanted. So this one, it's jacks your metabolism, it spikes it up. Combine it with a healthy food, healthy lifestyle, it can burn that fat, melt the fat, give you abs. Also, it's good for your pores, they say, your skin, and overall your health benefit. It's just going to make you feel better, your vascular system, the blood flow all around. Wim Hof, there are scientific studies behind this. Dr. Andrew Huberman, Wim Hof, who's done studies too, scientific, along with testimonials of his students. It has healed diseases, actually. If you check him out, Wim Hof, the Iceman, Instagram or YouTube, his testimonials, a lot of health related diseases were cured actually because of that. So it's a great benefit as well. So if you are interested to handle your stress and turn it into healing, and maybe you got some good ideas already here, right? Man, just give a give a like, a love, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet on YouTube, Real Talk Lifeline. Comment ice bath down below if you want to take it to the next level and actually put it into practice with us. Ice bath will reach out to you. I'll share with you the next upcoming schedules of our events. I'm just going to go through some of the comments here super quick. Nick, heck no, I'll be in the hot tub watching you though. I understand a lot of people, they take showers with a water heater. I just, after the workout this morning, I took a cold shower 6 a.m. So water heater off. That's my practice because the ice bath is even more intense. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Nick. Your locals are lucky to have you. Yes. Been working with the team, of course, with Mark, my ice bath teacher. Very grateful for that. Yup, you will get the munchies after doing that. Again, you burn a lot of calories when you do the cold immersion, the ice bath. A lot of health benefits. Cold exposure healing process, as Nick mentioned here, you can look it up. If you're curious, you've never been exposed to it, type Wim Hof, WIM space HOF. So he's this Dutch person, and he teaches the Wim Hof method, breathing technique, and the ice baths, the cold immersion. I see a lot of hearts because it's Hearts Day today. Happy Hearts Day, Feb 14. Guys, last comment here. I finish with cooler water sometimes. I do it in the middle of a warm shower. But I love me that warm water. Yeah. So you could do what Nick said. Start with a hot or warm. And then if you want to just get like a feel of it, you could end your shower with cold. So you could baby step your way into the ice bath. So Dr. Andrew Huberman again has posted scientific studies on this. Before it was a pseudoscience. And of course, here, Wim Hof, that's how you spell it. You can look him up to see the other benefits. Start with baby steps, as Nick said, and comment ice bath down below if you want to take this workshop to the next level. So thank you guys. I love you, and I will see you next time.